Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. Starting to split, starting to fracture those groups. Now starting to leave a reasonable number behind. Fantastic to see that it's actually gone clear off at the front. Behind this group are now having to respond. They're having to make a choice here. Do we chase? How far do we let a rider like Lisa Manson go?
They're on the lower slopes and it's Embring and Prado leading the charge. Category 3, they are well and truly on the climb, and in fact Hadlock is the rider who's pushed on. She's 10 seconds clear with this leading group of Category 2 riders. They are indeed working their way through the back of the Category 4 and the back of the Category 3 fields, but they have not caught the front. But Perry and Silvestro, the 2 riders now pushing through these rollers. They've got 2 kilometres left to go, and if Al Mansouri wants to do anything about this, she's going to have to push hard. The 4 of them are fighting this out, and they have got 2.8 kilometres to the finish. Georgia Perry came into the final set of rollers in a group of 3. She's pushed on. She's going to take the win today in Category 4. Georgia Perry is your Category 4 winner on Qualifier 3.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, wherever you are in the world. It is April, just because we are now heading into our finals. Yes, not just our individuals, but our teams will be competing for the amazing prizes here today. And putting words to the action with me, Matt Payne, in the studio is the one and only living legend of the statisticians, as well as, of course, coach and professor. It is the one and only Emma Martin.
Wow. There's an introduction. Well, we're getting great introductions in April, and I'll tell you something, if you are new to MyWhoosh, this is going to be a great introduction to the final, because the women are heading to Belgium for the very first time for a final. We've been here for a qualifier number 2, we've been here for qualifier number 3, we've been here for qualifier number 4, but we have never been to Belgium for a final in the women's race. Well, we're putting that to rights today with 35 kilometres of racing, 324 metres of climbing, and that is the course they face in front of you. So we have 2 sprints along the way, but 4 main climb segments. They hit the Courtier at 6 kilometres. It's the longest climb at 3.9%. The Valkenburg coming at 18.3 kilometres into the course, just 1.3 kilometres of climbing, but a gradient of average 4.3. Then we hit the Eichenberg Hill and the Eichenberg climb. They come in quick succession before a 6-kilometre run to the checkered flag.
So although it's a fast, flat start, don't expect it to be taken too easily, because it is one of those race routes that always provokes action, it always provokes interest, and it's going to provoke our riders today. 4 race categories, as always, on the Sunday Race Club, with Category 1, 2, 3 and 4 in yellow, green, blue and red, respectively. 5 minutes between each of our race categories, as you can see on the start clocks that are in the centre of each of our screens. But we're going to kick off with our Category 4 riders and teams. Now, big race field. We've got Just Keep Pedaling. We've got Bryson, Hamilton, Mansouri, Madera in there. We've got the Climber girls of Barco, Solizano, Clarissa Garcia and Alvarez, the pedal dancers. Bogram, Ellis, Perry, Silvestro and Bago for those teams. Oh, they're not our only teams by any stretch of the imagination, because we have the Petite Four squad: Bremner, Jones, Smithson, Lloyd and Francis. Phoenix, Navarez, Kirchner, De Silva, Kirchner, Sarasuk and Ferron. And Phoenix 2, which is either Phoenix number 2 or Phoenix 2, because we're also Phoenix. And that is Camilla Belle. It's going to be Canol, Neves and Vasquez. A real star-studded set of riders take to the race start.
Well, it is indeed a star-studded set of riders, and the team competition is wide open today. We're in with Isabella Bryson, one of the newer riders in the peloton. They are ready to go. Well, away go, category 4 for the April final. It's 2024. I can't believe we're now at the end of April, but we are, and we are heading out on to the Belgium course. This is the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. This is the final, and the team competition for me today, Matt, in this category 4 race. Well, in a lot of these races, and we'll talk about it as we go through the program. But so many teams in competition for the top spot. So just keep pedaling. Bryson, Hamilton, Al-Mansouri and Madeira, you look at that and you look at the positions they've had this month. Al-Mansouri a first and a third, Hamilton a second and a fifth, Bryson a fifth herself, and Myra Madeira, we know, is so strong. Look really good, but then you move to the pedal dancers. Elos has had a fourth. Perry has had a first and a fourth. Silvestro's had 2 seconds. So they've got to be in with a shot. And then, of course, you've got Bremner Jones, Smithson, Lloyd and Francis from the Petit Fours. And, well, who's to discount Phoenix either?
No, I don't think any of these teams can be discounted. If you are new, the teams have a maximum of 5 riders in the team. It's 3 riders to count, and the times of the fastest 3 riders are added together. The fastest 3 riders, and you have to have 3 riders in there. The fastest team for those 3 times added together is a team that takes away the win. This prize is for the top 5, and there is, of course, bragging rights for all of our riders for completing a final, because to get here you have to qualify in 2 qualifying rides. And I know with the launch of MyWhoosh Go, which has landed,
yes,
it is effectively a way that if, like us, in the pain cave that we have here in the studios, we use a multitude of computers, we can now allocate one of our older PCs literally to the second turbo trainer in the studios, and it can just sit there now and just run MyWhoosh, because it couldn't do it before because it was like steam driven. But
it is a very old
PC,
and I can guarantee from yesterday it is indeed working and running MyWhoosh, no problem at all.
Yep, works like a dream. So increased accessibility, no reason not to jump in. Basically, you miss the crowds, the horses, some of the scenery, but it does exactly what MyWhoosh does. And you can race on it on the Sunday Race Club. Now, good to see that we've got Clarissa Garcia in here wearing the MyWhoosh jersey there, already pedaling, looking pretty smooth. Hear that heart rate, 143 at the moment. And of course, that is very, very dependent upon each individual person. Now, I'm looking at the windows there, and I think I saw rain there in the Philippines, actually on the windows, where we are in the UK, in the studios here at Full Speed Events. It is absolutely belting it down outside. Hopefully, it won't reach the subterranean depths of the old beer cellar studio that we're in, but you never know.
It's a proper Yorkshire cup of tea day. Well, there we go.
Says the southerner.
Well, the southern person in the studio has spoken, but talking about speaking, these riders are starting to speak with their legs. We've already seen one rider dropped off the back of this group, and it's Smithson, Narvaez, Bogran, Garcia, Vasquez, Barco, Bremner, Madeira are all up in the mix here at the moment.
Now, to say we've ridden this so often, and we've ridden it quite a lot during the qualifiers, we are seeing a slightly more, I don't want to use the word pedestrian, but it almost is pace on the way out. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can't walk at 35 kilometres an hour at the moment. I think sometimes I wonder whether I can ride at 35 kilometres an hour, but this is a very compact and steady group. It is not yo-yoing. There's not that explosion of pace. I am going to be very interested to see how that plays out with the riders in Category 4 as they move on towards the hills, on towards the Meuse and the Bergs, as we go into Belgium. But it's time to go down and drop in with our teams in Category 3. We've got some really big teams in here, no bigger than Big 3, because the Big 3 are 3 riders, Arias, Geraldo, and Fu. We've got the April team. This is Marian Piela, Chikadzwitz. It's going to be Becker and Takova. We've got Caramella Koalas, one of the best team names ever.com, with Hyde, Sonnerson, Warren, and SDL. We've also got the Maniac squad. So that's Montoya, Beltran, Zabala, and Barragon. We've got the Seasoned Sisters with Vink, Giuliano, Isaac, Hill, and Johnson in that team. It's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be very difficult to see who is going to take that away. We'll get some insights from Emma into what our riders have done in a moment. But here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club in our April finals. It is our second group away. Here we go. It is Category 3 off from the race start. The same 6K flat run in to the first of the hills, the Cortakia. Who is going to push on? Will anybody decide to take this out from the gun, or will they play it cagey and maybe save a little bit of energy? Well, they're out and on that road away from the pens. Emma, we've got some great teams here. Give us a bit more detail on the actual riders and their performances, because in our qualifiers, they're more often than not riding as individuals, albeit possibly with an eye on the team for the future.
Yeah, so indeed you are correct, Matt. So the Caramello Koalas, Sonnerson's had a fifth this month, Estelles had a second, Warren and Hyder in there, who have both more recently come up from Category 4, so but very, very strong riders and settling themselves nicely into Cat 3. The Maniacs Barragan has been going really well this month. She's had a first and a second. And, you know, Beltran, Zabala and Montoya, you can't discount any of those three riders. We know they can pull out a really good ride. Megawatts, the Silvers had a third and a fifth. Hadlocks had a first and a third. So some strong performances there. And the Season Sisters, Vink, 2/4 this month, Hill, 2/3, and Rebecca Johnson has had a fifth as well, back in qualifier 1, and that was on the Paso Alto. So for me, if you look at this on paper, it should be between the Caramello Koalas, Megawatts, and the Season Sisters, but I would never discount the Maniacs at all from riding strongly. And as we know, Rebecca Johnson rides strongly. Now, she's a great climber, Matt. My question is, can she hold any advantage on those climbs through that final 6 kilometres to the finish line?
That's a really tricky question. I would like to say yes. I think the answer is no. It's not about, I don't think she's going to hold the time, but what she can do is do a lot of damage, particularly on the very first climb. Because the Cortakia climb is so steep, 17% at peak on the first part, it then drops and kicks again. So you've got to be good at getting into your rhythm very quickly because of that break in the middle of the climb. For me, if you're a climber, the way you have to approach this course is you have to take the opportunities when they're presented to you. And to do that as a climber, as such a strong climber as Johnson is, she needs to do that damage there.
Yeah, and this is one of those courses where you almost have to forget where the finish line is, and you have to think about the fact that there are multiple finish lines. Because if you are not in this race at certain points, you will never be in it at the finish line. So sometimes I think you really have to change your mentality on this course, and you really have to think the finish line is at the top of this climb, and that may only be 7.5 kilometers into the race, and you've got to think about those multiple finish lines and just keep digging.
Yeah, and as you go over the top of the climbs, when you go over the top of the Cortakia, it's got a long chance to get back on two very flat and slightly downhill sections. From there, you go into the Valkenburg, again, another relatively long section. But as you go through, it decreases. Now, a rider like Novelin Kokkonen, who we've got on our screens at the moment, will know exactly how long they are. Novelin, one of our regular riders on MyWhoosh since the year pretty much dot, I think. And definitely a rider who we know is going to be able to keep an eye on where she is in that pack. Make sure she's in contention, because your chances to get back on diminish the further through the course you go due to the profile of those hills.
And Kokkonen is really strong. You know, she's part and parcel of that Megawatts team. She's got De Silva, she's got Hadlock in there as well. You know, she's going to be motivated and pulled along by that squad. And for me, that's one of these things about, you know, the final of every month when you come into this team competition, it really adds added motivation for you to dig deep and pull out a great performance.
Well, let's see if our Category 2 riders can pull something deep and get a meaningful result here. It's going to be between some of our really big teams here in Category 2. The Globetrotters with Jaramillo, Montoya, Weston and Sanchez. We've got Level Maniacs, Lytton, Mabin, Bergin, White and Herrera. The Sunday crew are back once again. Wagner, Miller and Howeiler in there. The Swedish Dynamite squad, well, the explosive power of Embrings, Farstrom, Montgomery and London are going to be up with Team Collide. So we've got Fredo, we've got Taconas, Manuela and Cassani. And for the Velociraptors, Walkenhurst, Kong, Smithers and McAlpine.
25 riders on the start sheets today in Category 2. 6 teams in the mix. Who is going to take top spot? Well, away go, Category 2 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. This is the April final, and there's a real push coming on the front of this group and a real stretch out of this start pen as they sweep out on to the course. The pace over 40 kilometres an hour within the first 100 metres. This group of Category 2 women, well, it looks like they mean business.
It does look like they mean business. The speed was up as they came and accelerated out. The technique to do that, well, we did go into that in some depth last week in the show. Please do have a look back at the shows. You can go back a long way, in fact, in the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club shows. So far back, in fact, maybe we might show you a little bit later on. We will see. Depends how good you are out there. Let's see how manic the racing is, because it's going to be packed today, as we would expect, because of those 4 climbs, because of the 2 sprints along the way. And a quick reminder, if you are a rider or a spectator, don't forget that the prizes are about who goes over that finishing line in the top 5. The polka dot skin suit and the sprint skin suit are not relative to those prizes, but that doesn't stop our riders going for it.
It doesn't, and going for it today in this team competition, Matt. It was the Velociraptors from the Sunday crew last month in the final when we were in Australia on the Wollongong course. But for me, Swedish Dynamite have got to be in the mix today. Embrings, Fardston, Montgomery and Lunding. Embrings had 2 firsts and a 4th in the qualifiers. She is so on form at the moment. And Fardston's had a 2nd and a 3rd. Team Collide, Prado's had a 2nd. We know Takanis goes well. Manuela's had a 2nd and Kasani's had a 4th. So they are looking strong as well. The Globetrotters and Velociraptors, I think, are going to be very, very close behind. On paper, it looks like there's 4 teams in the mix, but the Level Maniacs, Lytton, Mabin, Bergen, White and Herrero, a number of those have come up from Category 3. In fact, there is Rosa Herrero, who put in some outstanding performances to get her progression to Cat 2. I'm really interested to see what this squad can do, because they have come up, and quite a few of them have come up recently from Category 3, but never discount them because they are all strong riders. So great to see them in the mix today in this final in Category 2. And I think Belgium could throw a few surprises.
And there are some riders I think it's really going to suit, people like Lytton and Mabin, who are really explosive. Yeah. They've got Bergen in there, in that Maniacs crew, Herrera and White. Very difficult to choose. And there are 6 teams in Category 2. There are 5 prizes available, so somebody's going to be going home without that team prize in there, and they will want to avenge that when they come to our May finals. As we tick our way through, a quick reminder, so our qualifiers every Sunday as we run through the month, except for the last Sunday in the month, where we bring you the finals, where the team competition comes into play, as well as those great individual prizes. And that's across all of our categories. The prize is equal in the men's and the women's race field, as it has been from the workout, and that is exactly as you would expect. Now, the Swedish Dynamite squad, Emma, you were talking about Embrings, Farstrom, about Montgomery, the London is part of their squad as well. They are all incredibly strong riders. Yes. They're very, very fast, and they ride strongly as a team. And in terms of esports history, the Swedish contingent of esports, they are
world class.
They're world class, and they have been racing and riding together for a long time.
Yeah, and for me, Swedish Dynamite in Category 2, they are the squad to watch today. I think they're going to dominate this race. I think this course really suits them, and it's going to be great to watch them execute their plan.
Well, let's see if they can execute the plan better than any of our top teams in terms of categories, because the Sweet Sensations, well, a little change of name, and we'll bring you details on that. Veltfjord, Bruni and Koistinen, the Ablock International, Hermansen, Holcroft, Soderström, Larsen, and Penna. Cyber Races, represented by Gonzalez, Menenzes, Degeman, Shandy, and Vittori. Effetto Skier, we've got Cameron, Bassoni, Giovanni, and Whitelaw. And the peak performers, Van Hove, Engstrom, Kulczynski, Bjarhead, and Sidlick. If I was describing to you an esports Olympic final race field, that is it. That it could well be it, because they are absolutely phenomenal. Will they be taking it out, though? We will have to see who is going to end up with a gold, a silver, a bronze, who's going to be looking on as the top rider. Spray that champagne. We will see. It is our finals. We have 35 kilometres of racing, 324 metres of ascent, 4 categorised climbs, 2 sprints. And we're going to have one heck of a race finish here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Category 1 are away.
Category 1 are indeed away. They are away on the April final. Now, 22 riders on start sheets today, 5 teams in total. And as Matt indicated, we've had some name changes. Quite a few name changes, actually, because there's some movement of riders and some new riders coming into the mix as well. So last month, to remind you, in March, it was the Risky Biscuits who took the win from Fito Skier, and then Nordic Spirit in third. The Risky Biscuits, now the Sweet Sensations, Velt, Fua, Bruni and Coincident. And that squad have been on form this month. So Velt's had a 5th, Fua's had 2 firsts and a 2nd. Bruni has had a 1st, a 2nd and a 3rd. And Coincident has had a 5th place. Well, peak performers for me have got to be one team we've got to watch. Van Hove, Engstrom, Kolczynski, who's had a 2nd and a 4th, Bjarhead and Sidlik, all in the mix there. Afito Skier are here. Cyber Racers, Menendez has had a 3rd and a 4th. Vittori has come up into that squad. And Ablock International, Holcroft's had a 4th. Soderstrom's had a 5th. Tiffany Penner's come up from phenomenal performances in Category 2. In fact, we're in with her at the moment, part and parcel of this group. But we've got an early break, an early gap, should I say, just with one rider slightly off the pace. Bit of a squeeze needed there to get back into the mix here. But I think this is going to be some tight racing. And my really big question is, can anybody beat Catherine Fua on this course? Because looking back to October last year, the only other person to win on this course was Lou Bates, and she's not here today.
Yep, no Lou with us here today, and that does mean that Fua, realistically, if we don't get Fua on there, it's a new rider taking a victory on the course here. The team competition changes the dynamic, though, doesn't it, Emma? Because there is that team tactics going into play. And it may well be that Fua has to go on the defensive a little bit because she's got a team rider up the road. I mean, Velt and Bruni have both been absolutely on form par excellence. They have really been nailing it, and they've been aggressive as well. And I think that really suits aggressive riders today, giving it some, really winds it up. Now, the pace here has started off relatively slow, and I think Giovanni's wanted to pick that pace up. She's gone onto the front. She's winding it up at a 3.5 watts per kilo, and I think that is really all about just trying to make it a little bit harder. We know Giovanni probably likes that slightly longer climb. She likes a longer effort. She wants it to stay tougher for longer. Now, I think there's a bit of team tactics going on here about how they want the race to play out. You've been part of race-winning squads on eSports, Emma. Those team tactics are key. The communication's key. You would always have some kind of plan going in, I would presume.
Yes. So, yes. I think to all of those.
Right, let's stop there.
Yes, the plan is key. Yes, communication is key. And the ability to change the plan on the hoof is also key in response to the tactics that are being employed by the other teams and the other squads. You know, and you might have 2 or 3 different scenarios that have been in the conversation as part and parcel of that pre-race planning. And it is about, jumping on that and actually executing the team plan, which may be very different if you are racing individually.
And it can affect individuals' chances of a win. Now, we said that the Category 1, or I said the Category 1, were going off relatively slowly. That won't attribute any comments to Emma. It is a slow run out for Category 1. As you can see, though, in fact, it is Category 2 and 3 who mixing it up at the top of the standings in the way through the Ghent City Sprints. This is our first snapshot onto the racing. White ahead of Idzik Zulaga. We got the rest of the squads following in there, but no Category 1 riders in the sprint here. Remember, this is about the pace.
Well,
now, we're going to go straight across from this over to our prize money, because we need to tell you what our riders are racing for here today. It's going to be a very, very interesting set of prizes. Emma, do you want to run us through some of the prizes?
Yeah, we can do indeed. So, category 4 prize money today in the monthly final. The individual classification today, 2,160 AED for the win, through to fifth place. The fifth place rider getting 432. But for me, it's the team's classification that counts. First team today, 10,800 AED through to 1,080 AED for fifth place in that team competition. Now, the prizes get bigger as we work through the teams. So, first place team prize, category 3, 18,000 AED, 10,800 for second, 7,200 for third, 3,600 for fourth, and 1,800 AED for fifth in the team competition. The winner of category 3 as an individual, picking up 3,600 AED for the win. Well, category 2, it gets even better. The racing, I was going to say the racing gets harder, but it doesn't get harder, it just gets faster. The team's classification, 30,000 AED for the win. Alongside that, first place in the individual competition being 6,000 AED. And you can see that through to fifth place in the individual classification and fifth place in the team competition as well. Now, top spot category 1, the prize money, well, this is the cream of the crop. The individual classification, first prize, 10,000 AED through to 2,000 AED for fifth place. And in that team's classification, it's a whopping 50,000 AED for the win today, which is why it is so competitive. Second place, 30,000. Third place, 20,000. Fourth place, 10,000. And fifth place team in category 1 picking up 5,000 AED today. Well, the question is, are we going to have Matt's exchange?
No, we're not going to have Matt's exchange. That is definitely an Emma feature. I wouldn't dare to tread on your toes. So before
nice to know he knows his place.
Before I rudely interrupted you and stopped you from diving into your stats, we were on the sprint as it came through. We had category 2 and category 3 absolutely nailing that.
Yep.
In terms of places. You were going to say
the key story, I think, to that first sprint, the Ghent City sprint, is there was no sprinting. Unlike we see in the qualification rounds, we normally always see somebody go for that sprint effort. They open their legs up, or that's their target for the day. Not one category out of the 4, not one rider out of the 100 plus riders on the start sheets today took to the sprint. This is all about the climbing today. This is all about the overall, and we're in with category 2 at the moment. Svanström, Manuela, Embring, Walkenhurst, Kong, Western, London, Prado are all in the mix here. They are all in what is a big group coming towards the top of the first section of the Corsica. And for me, Matt, I know we can see on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen a long snake of green riders on that shot up the Corsica, but this leading group is still really big.
It is really big. I am expecting it to split as they go over the top. The shape of the road, the profile as you roll over the top here, it increasingly opens the gap up because the gradient gradually decreases and then goes down into minus numbers as you roll over the other side. It should mean that those splits are formed, they're extended, but then as we run into the final section, they'll compress at the base of the final section of the Corsica, and then it will extend even quicker as we go over the top. Now, Marisa Manuela up in this group, she's made the selection at the moment. Good to see the Romanian rider and racing, looking pretty smooth. They're very high pedal catch, is really good to see, really easy to respond. You can see her picking that up, just spinning up as she goes over the top here. It levels back out again here, but she really is pushing the pace.
Well, she is, and I think what's really interesting here is she's not backing off the pace. You can see the effort that she is putting in at the moment to keep that pace high and to stop the riders coming back together, because the course here, you come up a long climb, you come up to the steepest section, it tops 17% before you get to the top of the first rise. And I say first rise because then we drop off the top, we drop into the dell, and then we kick again to the top of the Cortakia climb where the segment finishes and the polka dot banner is. Now, this is the Category 1 pack, and you can see the polka dot banner. This is the start of the Cortakia climb segment, not the end of the Cortakia climb segment, which is where our Category 2 riders are heading.
So as the Category 1 come in, underneath the banner, the clock will start to see who's the fastest up here. I would be very surprised if we don't see a yellow jersey at the top of the segment, leading them through here.
Can I just say... we could see a green skin suit.
We might see a green skin suit, but I would personally suspect that we are going to see a yellow jersey through there. I know. I went to the School of Stating the blinking obvious. Don't worry. So let's see who's going to take this out now. Larson, Vittori, Gonzalez, Rua, Kalman, and Fua across your screens at the moment. They are the riders approaching this, and this is where we need to see how they react coming in. The gradient is starting to ramp up. This is where it starts to bite. This is where the riders really get to find out whose legs are on form, whose legs are going to feel like they've been hit by 1,000 baseball bats, and whose legs just don't turn up to work today.
Well, sometimes that does happen, but I don't think it's going to happen to these women, because this squad in front of us, it's a strong, strong group of riders. So Larson, Bruni, Kalman, Fua, Holdcroft, Hermansen and Penner, all in this group. They're spread across the road at the moment. Now, the early gradient on this climb, I say it's not steep, it's still just shy of 5%. They're going to be feeling it underneath those pedals, but it will get a lot steeper. So it is a steady start to this climb before it really starts to kick. Well, this steady start, Matt, all the riders still together. Nobody in trouble yet.
Nobody in trouble yet. I like the yet word. That could be the word of the day, yet. Although we can't use it all the way to the finish. We're going to maybe get close.
They're not at the finish. Yet.
No, they haven't got the win yet, but we will see if it is going to be our riders. You can just see Carmen on your screens at the moment, just getting out of the saddle, and that means she's putting the power down. We're just seeing 7.6 watts per kilo come out from Kalman as she stood up out the saddle. The gradient increasing here, and now the pressure is ramping up. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen those red chevrons flying across from left to right on the riders, indicating how deep the riders go. You can see that we've got Kalman here in zone 6. This means she's really, really digging in deep. She's right on the limit of her power. This is where it's going to hurt. But you've got to recover and then go again.
You have, and I have to say, I'm not surprised to see Lisa Hermansen coming to the fore here. Hermansen does really well on this course. She's always ridden really well on this course. It really, really suits her. Much more of a rider with a deep kick and a deep dig, as opposed to a long 20-minute plus climb. So Hermansen historically doing well here. Fua also, as we mentioned right at the top of the show, historically doing very, very well here. Bruni, Bjarhed, Kolczynski. Now, Kolczynski, I think we need to watch out for here. I think this could suit her as well. Sidlik is in the mix, but Fua at the moment pushing on and got a 3-second gap. And as we mentioned, the top part of this climb is indeed the steepest part. And if she can do 3 seconds damage to this group on the steep sections, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out later.
Well, this is where you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to be on the wheels. You cannot be distance. We're starting to see bigger gaps at the back. Fua is doing the damage. She's gone over the top and she's eased off a little as she's gone up towards the top. The chase is on behind. You can see our green skin suit wearer. That is Marlin Bjarhed in the paint game. She's wearing that gold and black jersey. But At the moment, she's our sprint leader. Those points amassed will potentially change as they go through. It may change the destination of the green jersey, but as they come over the top here, Catherine Fua leading through. The chase is on behind. We have got some big contenders in close attendance. Bruni, Kolczynski, Bjarhe, Hermansen. Great point there about Hermansen being suited to this course, and it is splitting. It will compress as they go in again. But Emma, going to our expectations in a lot of ways, the big hitters coming out, doing damage already.
Yeah, the big hitters are coming out and doing damage, but I'm looking further back down the field and I can see the push coming on this descent section to try and close the gaps down, because the pack stretched, the peloton stretched so much with that attack from Catherine Fua that you can now see how they are working and utilizing this downhill to push the power, to lift the momentum, to lift the pace, to close the gaps before it kicks again. And you can see here in front of you now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 riders here on the screens in the leading group. They've closed down that gap. Sidlick now leading it out with Larson, with Velt, with Bruni, Holdcroft, Fua, Penner in here. So great riding from Tiffany Penner at the moment. Going to be interesting actually to see how and whether this course suits her.
Yeah, and she's a rider who has come up. She showed that she's very strong. We knew that she had the pedigree to be in there. Whether or not she can make it stick in the finals today, we'll have to see. Category 1 now making the way towards the second part of the Gortkia. You can see the hill ramping up in front of them. They're on the way up. On the way down are the Category 2. They're on the right-hand side of your screen, so very different technical parts of the course in terms of climbing and descending. Descending, it's about keeping in the pace, keeping in the draft. On the climb, it's about watching everybody else and seeing how hard you need to go. What do you need to pull out here? How deep do you need to dig? And how much are you going to have left for later? Burn all those matches. Now you'll have nothing to light the fires that will take it into the finish. You've got to make sure that you've got something there, but you do not want to squander the opportunity to damage other people as well. So the rider's calculating. The phrase chess on wheels describes it so well, because you've got to be thinking not just about what's happening now, but what's happening on the next climb, on the next descent, on the transfer, on that transition phase coming through. All those little bits playing in to how you play your tactics now, and doing all that, of course, whilst you're on your absolute limit and racing against the best riders in the world.
Yeah, they are. And Nelly Larson there, you can see the effort going in to push to the top of this climb and to stay with that group. She needs to push, she needs to stay with that pack. She needs to work. The Swedish rider needs to stay on those wheels. So working her way into the mix, just coming past Maria Holdcroft. Holdcroft going to need now to push, and she does indeed. She lifts the pace to get back on to Larson's wheel. She doesn't want to lose the group, because behind, if she could turn her head over her shoulder, the gap has gone to the group behind. Kolczynski, it looks as though, is the last rider on this group, just behind Bjarhe, who is in that green skin suit. Sidlick, Velt, Holdcroft, well, they are needing to work hard, because the group ahead of them, the gap has extended because they've hit the downhill, and this group are yet to push.
So the chasing group behind, trying to get on to the pace of the leaders. There's about a 6-second difference in time going up to the summit. Bruni leading over from Fua, from Bjarhe, Kolczynski, Sidlick, Velt, Penner, and Larson. Holdcroft in there, but the whole of the top of the leaderboards, as you look through, you can see this if you go on to mywhoosh.com/results. It is showing yellow pretty much exclusively, I'd imagine, Emma, for the very top of these boards, all the way down until we run out of riders.
Well, we've got 17 riders through from Category 1 at the moment. And when I say through, I mean up and over the top of the Gortkia. And those riders having pushed on and pushed through. And what we're doing is we're seeing smaller groups coming from behind. So this is the front group at the moment in Category 1. We've got Bruni, Sidlick, Bjarhe, and Velt in here. This pack is rolling on the right-hand side of your screen. Well, they're 8 kilometres further down the road. And this is Category 4, the leaders in Category 4. And if you take a quick peek at that bottom left-hand screen, you can see 3 distinct groups of riders. They're at 18.6 kilometers into the course, so they're on the Valkenburg climb at the moment. And you can see here, we have 7 riders, it looks like, in the shot at the moment. It's Jones, Alvarez, Bremner, Perry, Silvestro, Bryson, Hamilton. This is your leading group. They are currently the leaders on the road, and they are the leaders in Category 4.
Well, 7 riders at the moment on to the climb, looking very, very strong at this point. But of course, that could all change as these riders continue to push into the finish. There could be a break, there could be a change in the competition. In the composition, of the groups going over, and the change in the composition because of the change in the composition as they make their way through into the top of these climbs. At the moment, though, that leading group, they've got a gap. It is not insurmountable by the riders behind, but they're going to have to work because we are now in the 20-plus seconds gap between the first and second groups in Category 4. Behind them, we have Category 3. Now, they're on the way in towards the ascent of the Valkenburg, the second of our categorized climbs. And as you can see from the top right-hand side of your screen, there is a little depression, a little descent before you go up on to the climb. And that means that as you roll down there, you can pick up the pace to transfer that momentum through. And we talk about being used to a platform. We talked about being regularly riding on a Sunday Race Club in lots of the shows, and this is where it really does show. Those riders who know what's coming, who know what the course is doing, able to watch all of the data, able to see where they need to push, and then transferring that skill into getting the most out of the bike on the platform as they roll down and in. This is going to be key. Our Category 3 leading group on the way down here contains Hadlock in there, who's in our polka dot skin suit as the fastest climber of climb 1, which was a Kia climb, but the points from the Valkenburg will be added to that. They're on the way in. So Category 4 almost at the top of the Valkenburg climb. Category 3 on the way in towards the base. They're about to go underneath the polka dot banner. Category 2 are on the transition between the two, and Category 1 on the descent down, about to hit the Thistlehoven Molen sprint as they make the way in and around. So they're not that far behind Category 2. So our 4 sets of riders out on the course. Amazing racing in here. Now, we did give you a little tease earlier on about just how things have progressed, and maybe a little bit of a tease about how things maybe looked way back when in year dot, when we saw riders like Conan riding and co. Well, it's been a little while, and we thought, or rather, should I say the team thought, that they would put together a little bit of a montage for you, just to show you not only just how things have changed, but also, of course, who is out here. Because it's not just Emma Martin here with me, Matt Payne, but we also have our colleagues. We have got Robert, we've got Abdullah, we've got Anthony, who's joined us as well, and we will be being joined by another colleague on commentary, in the French commentary, and that's going to be James, and I think he's due to be with us next week to start off the May qualifiers. They are going to be bringing us this commentary in French. James will be. Let's see how they're going to get on. So here we go, 4 sets of riders up on to the climbs, coming in and through the sides. As we see the action, let's take a little bit of a look back. This could be embarrassing. Now, hopefully, we sound as professional then as we do now, but you never ever know. We will see.
Oh, don't set it up like that.
You never know. Here we go, let's have a look.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. متابعينا ومشاهدينا الكرام في كل مكان، أسعد الله أوقاتكم بكل خير.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Fura is desperately trying to catch her before the line. Hits the line now.
Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, Matthew. We've got 6 Category 4 climbs today. Category 4 is a new category for us this month. We are moving from 3 race categories.
Points make prizes, and prizes are big. Once you started to break this clear, and boy, I tell you something, Koistonen and Bates going off as a group of 2, that is a dangerous move.
Wow, the effort going in, but what's going down? The gradient just coming off at the moment. It's a big group of Category 2 riders.
كانتسون فريق الإماراتي وإيكلان تيم مع لوكا زاناسكا وكانتسون.
Well, the broadcast journey really does continue, because you can see there over the years the development of the programme here at MyWhoosh. And, well, for me, the next big question, and should you wish to answer it, please do get in touch, is what next? Where does MyWhoosh go next? Because it is a cracking set of racing.
It is a cracking set of racing, and it's only possible because there is an amazing team bringing us the game in the first place. And you know that we've had amazing developments with Apple TV and with MyWhoosh Go, but also the team who bring you the images behind the scenes. I've got to say a massive, massive thank you to all of them, because without them, we basically put the cherries on top of the cake. They make the whole cake and they put it all together. They bake it and you get the results as tasty as it is. And I've got to say a big, big thank you to them. They're an absolute pleasure to work with, as you probably know. Emma and myself cover a lot of cycle sport. I've lost count of the number of world championships, and I work for international broadcasters from the BBC right the way through to streaming for local races. And I have to say the team at MyWhoosh are amongst the best out there and an absolute pleasure to work with. So the team are out and racing. Let's see how they go. This is going to be very interesting. You can see we've got 2 riders on our screens here, Emma. Yeah. This is one of the great insights.
I love this. I love these. So Bryson and Hamilton, the 2 Cat 4 riders, both in this leading group at the moment, both riding next to each other. Look at the smiles. They're enjoying it as well. Come on, work harder. If you can smile that much, obviously you need to push, but they're on a flat section at the moment. The pushes are going to come soon because they've got the 2 Eichenberg climbs before the finish. Are they going to be in the mix at the finish? Well, from the look of the smiles on those faces, I think this is a concerted effort for the April final.
Well, just keep pedaling, or just keeping on pedaling, and let's see if they can take this out. This is about making it count. This is about taking it to the finish, and I think they should well be smiling, because as we hit the 22.9k marker, we're well on the way through this race route, and they've got a good old gap.
Can I just say, I'm going to go with the Bryson Hamilton mix here. For May, the challenge is put a friend in your pain cave. Get them to ride with you. Come and do the double on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. 2 riders, 1 shot.
Yeah, or more. And this, I saw some amazing pictures, and we'll get back to the racing very quickly, believe me. Some amazing pictures coming out on the MyWhoosh social media feed. Yeah. Please do give them a follow. It's up MyWhoosh on Facebook and Instagram of riders in basically in the gym. So imagine,
festival.
You know, it's a cycling festival. It is supported by MyWhoosh. Oh. There is a bike after bike after bike. There's rider after rider after rider, all sharing that experience. And it did make me think that we looked at the video, we saw the MyWhoosh Championship and the animations that came with that $1 million prize fund. That was big, but we've got the World Championships coming up, and I'm really looking forward to see those riders competing against each other side by side in those finals. I'm really looking forward to that in October.
How many of the riders from the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club will be in the mix for that World Championships? I can guarantee you some of your favourite riders will be there, and you need to keep following, you need to keep watching, look and watch and see their development between now and those World Championships, and pick your favourite.
Pick your favourite. Get following them on social media. Give them your support on the way through. Let us know. You can do that on the comments on the live feed if you're watching live. You can get in touch with us. Emma, if people want to get in touch with you, it is at biking_Emma on Instagram. Am I correct?
It is indeed. And it's Biking Emma on X.
Okay. Is X like the modern thing?
It is, but don't follow me on X. Just follow me on Instagram because I'll respond to you if you send me a message.
There you go. That says it very plainly from Emma. You can follow me at Matt Fixer Payne across all sorts of platforms. You will see us riding out on MyWhoosh as well. We use a variety of devices for that, from Apple TV through to the iPhone, through to the PC, to MyWhoosh Go, and the full MyWhoosh option as well, the full Monty version of that. So extensively riding on it as well, and got to say, absolutely loving it. I just kind of wish I was racing, but then I see just how fast our riders are going, and I think, no, actually, do you know what? These riders are absolutely nailing it. Our Category 4 leaders onto the climb. Will Bryson and Hamilton stay together in avatar form as well as in real form? We're going to have to see.
Well, this is the Eichenberg Hill, which will be closely followed by the Eichenberg Climb. The last two climbs on this course today for our current leaders on the road, which is Category 4. 7 riders went into the base of this climb together. Jones is leading it out from Alvarez, Perry, Bremner, Hamilton, and Bryson. Silvestro is keeping guard at the back of the pack at the moment. Well, these 7 riders all in the mix today, all very strong, but Georgina Jones, I think, is the rider who's going to push on very, very shortly. And the other 6, well, they are going to need to keep close watch over her action, over her moves, because for me, she has got to be the favourite today.
Ooh, I love it when you go bold in here. Now, for me, I've just been having a little look at the composition in Category 4 of this leading group of 7. 1 rider from Climbing Girls, 2 riders from Just Keep Pedaling, 2 riders from Pedal Dancers, and 2 riders from Petit 4.
Yes.
And that means, and this is what is important across all of our categories, is that if you are riding and you are not at the front of the race, that does not mean you can stop pedaling for a fraction of a second, because your time could well count, because it's about those fastest 3 riders. And remember, we do have riders, you have a power cut. You might not be as lucky as we are to be in the studio, where we've got power backup as well as internet connectivity backup. If you get that kind of cutout, it could be that the rider that you were relying on to be 3rd rider is gone. You're now the 3rd rider. You've got to be in there to count for your team. So really, really important to push wherever you are in the world.
Well, Category 2 riders now up and over the Valkenburg. This is Category 1. Still a leading pack here at the moment. They are on the Valkenburg at the moment at 19.2 kilometres. They've got 400 metres left of this climb, and you can see it on the top right-hand corner of your screen. The gradient now at around 3.5%, and it will get a little steeper, but not hugely before the top. Very, very flat at the top. I think we're going to see this group stay together until then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 riders in the leading group in Category 1 at the moment. That's still, for me, Matt, a big group now that we're moving into the second half of this race.
And they've got 24 seconds between them and the rider behind at the last time check I saw. And that means that this should be secure. Normally, we would say if there was a chasing group behind, that they could get back on this flat section through the lake. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. And that is quite simply because they've 9 riders. And they are, what are 9 riders? Felt, Fewer, Bruni, Sidlik, Bjarhe, Koczynski, Holcroft, Larson, and Penner. They set the fastest times through here. 2 minutes 35.445. The time for Amelia Felt, the fastest rider in Category 1 and the fastest rider of all of our race categories. 4, 3, 2, and 1 up the Valkenburg climb. They now have a little bit of a transfer, but then we go into the Eichenberg Hill and the Eichenberg climb. This is going to be telling.
Well, let me just give you an update on the team competition in Category 1. 9 riders in the leading group. 3 riders each from 3 different teams.
Ooh.
So 3 riders from Ablock International, Holdcroft, Larson and Penner. 3 riders from Peak Performers, Kolczynski, Bjarhead and Sidlik. And 3 riders from Sweet Sensations, Velt, Fua and Bruni.
So they are the teams at the moment in contention for the top 3 team spots. The chasing riders behind, we've got Van Hove, we've got Gonzalez Rua, we've got Kalman, and we've got Engstrom. 4 riders behind. Now, that means that they could be in there to count for those riders who have not got big numbers up at the front. And remember, the prizes are for the top 5 teams. This really does make things very, very interesting indeed. And remember, of course, even if you are the 4th or 5th rider, your time may well count. If your rider's in front, they could blow up. They could literally blow. And there's some great phraseology if you wonder what we're talking about. So, for example, we might talk about whittling something down. We haven't yet got a social media from MyWhoosh about whittling. Maybe I'll do a guest spot on that for them. However, things like bonking, blowing up, to draft, all these phrases coming out. So if you're wondering what they are, jump on board. Do ask us the questions. We're always happy to chat. Oddly enough, we do a lot of talking.
Well, Angel Hadlock's not doing any talking at the moment. Well,
No.
If she is, her legs are doing the talking because she's moving up, leading this Category 3 race at the moment. She's just outside the top 10 now on the road. Myra Madeira, the Category 4 rider, is the rider ahead of her. We can see her on the screens now. Not Madeira, Hadlock, that is. She's in the polka dot skin suit in Category 3, signifying the fact that she's leading that points competition in the climbs. Now, there is a group of riders behind. You can see them in that long shot. 11 seconds she's got on the group, and they're pushing hard behind. So Barragan, Estelle, Hill, Turkova, Johnson. Wow, that's a who's who in Category 3. They're doing the chasing. But Hadlock, she's pushed on the climb. Can she stay clear? She's at 25.6 kilometres into this race. She's just gone over the top of the Eichenberg Hill. She's going to drop down on the descent to the Eichenberg climb. That's going to be the last climb today for these Category 3 riders. So she's pushed clear 9 seconds at the moment. What can that chase group do?
They've got to work. They've got to work now. Real interesting mix here, because I was just running through that chasing group whilst you were there listing them for us, Emma, which made life a little bit easier. 1 rider from the April team, Takova, in that chase squad. 1 rider from the Caramella Koalas. That's going to be Estelle. We've got 1 rider in that chasing group from the Maniacs in Barragan. We've got 2 riders, Hill and Johnson, from the Seasoned Sisters in the chase group. But for the Megawatts team, we've got Hadlock out the front. A real mix. So whereas we are seeing 3 teams with 3 riders in Category 1 racing in for the top of the competition, it's really, really wide open in Category 3. Now, Category 3, right-hand side of your screen. Category 2, left-hand side of your screen. They're trying to close down the riders in Category 3. You can already see they're working the way through. But this leading group, they're on the way up to the top of the climb. As you can see, approaching 25.2 kilometres. And that means that they are nearly at the top of the Eichenberg Hill. And it's a fast run down and transition. So expect them to start to close down onto the rest of the riders quickly. But at the moment, the leading Category 2 rider is in 31st position. That is Molly Weston. So at the moment, this group chasing hard. Weston, London, Manuela, Kong, Embring in there. They are working hard. We've got, just having a look, McAlpine in there, Svarstrom in there. Really is a strong group of riders. Emma, in terms of the team competition, if we've got all the riders in here, if we've managed to spot them all, how's that looking in terms of composition?
Well, it's an interesting one for me, Matt, because we've got 2 riders from the Velociraptors, Kong and McAlpine. We've got 1 rider from Team Clyde, Manuela. We've got 2 riders from Swedish Dynamite, Embring and Lundin. And we've got 1 rider from the Trotters, Molly Weston. So interesting to see how this will play out here in Category 2. But for me at the moment, it's 2 Swedish Dynamite versus 2 Velociraptors.
Well, let's see how it's going to work as we make our way in through. It's going to be a very tricky one. I've just seen Svarström in that group for the Dynamite for London. So that's in fact 2 for Swedish Dynamite as well. 3
for the Swedish Dynamite.
There we go. That is going to make things difficult for everybody else. We're in with Wendy McAlpine at the moment. So McAlpine from the Velociraptors right in the mix here in this group. We've seen her in action before with the boat in the background here. She's going to need to get those legs into action. She's got to get that stroke just right. Let's see if she's going to be able to do that in Category 2. Category 1, though, we're back in with this group, the All-Stars leading group, on the way in to the Eichenberg Hill. They're at the base of that very same climb now, and at the moment this is the leading group. They are sweeping up riders in Category 2. They've got the green jerseys on. They contain the green skin suit of Marlene Bjarhead, who's the fastest sprinter in Category 1. I'm just looking for a polka dot skin suit there at the moment. Is that coming from a chasing rider now, perhaps, in the skin suit rather than in the leading group?
Maybe. But it's not there, is it? It isn't.
No.
So it must indeed be. Well, the 9 riders in this leading group in Category 1 have got 24 seconds on the chasing group. And they are now pushing on here, coming in at 24.5 kilometres. They're into the Eichenberg Hill and climb. This is the last set. And for me, if anybody wants to make a move, this is the time to go. They've got the effort. They've got the push. And it's Penna and Bruni coming to the front. So really interesting moves here from Tiffany Penna, from Merle Bruni. Catherine Fua keeping an eye on them. She's third wheel at the moment. So these riders, 9 of them coming into this final set of climbs together with a gap of 20 plus seconds.
So over 20 seconds the gap. They're well on the way up here. They are absolutely rocketing up this climb at the moment. The Eichenberg Hill, well, it is a tough one. It is going to test the riders. Are they going to be able to close the gap down a little bit further down on the Eichenberg climb? Georgina Jones is leading the race out in its totality, but that is a big old stretch in front, and she's got the gap to Perry.
Well, she has indeed got the gap at the moment. Not saying I told you so, Matt, but as they go over the top, it was 7 riders coming into the base of that climb together, 5 riders going over the top in quick succession, but Jones is leading them out. She's got a gap, but it's not a big gap. Now, they've got a 6-kilometre run to the finish line. First of all, they descend off the Eichenberg. It's a very, very steep descent, so ensuring you keep the pace high, absolutely crucial for that momentum. And at the moment, Perry, well, I saw 76 kilometres an hour as she was on the chase.
Have you ever ridden at 76 kilometres an hour outdoors?
Oh gosh, I've no idea. I don't. Yeah, well, I might be interested in other people's stats. I'm less interested in mine.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, I'm less interested in mine.
I'll tell you something.
At the moment,
I'll tell you something. It's quick.
If you'd have asked me,
it is quick. It's not necessarily super quick, but it's quick. I'm not going to.
If you'd have asked me 5 or 6 years ago, I probably could have told you the answer.
You've been spent that long on the hamster wheel inside that she's forgotten what the outside looks like. That and the studio here as well. It is a pleasure to be joined in the studio by Emma Martin, the person who brings you the stats, the information, and manages to keep me in check every now and then as well, as we see our riders coming up over the top of the Eichenberg Hill. Now, the fastest time here had been set by Anna Svarstrom coming over here in Category 2. She's been blown away.
Oh, yeah.
And that is by the time they're 2:48.460. Stephanie Sidlick. Real mix over there, Emma.
It is a real mix, and interesting to see just 2 seconds separating the top 9 riders on that climb in Category 1. So Sidlick, Velt, Fua, Bjarhead, Bruni, Holdcroft and Kaczynski, all 7 of those within half a second of each other. Just Penna and Larson a little further back, and I mean just a little.
And at the moment, Larson is showing us 1 second behind this group, but she's going to make her way on to the back of it. I think we're going to see her come in now. Here she comes.
Just one climb to go.
So Penna has come in. We've got 1 climb to go. The distance is rocketing away. It's 1 climb to go for Category 1. Category 2 are nearly at the top of that last climb, the Eichenberg climb. And at the moment, as they go up over the top, it is going to be Wendy McAlpine, who is leading that group in and through. We've got Hadlock in there for Category 3, and we've got Jones for Category 4. These riders, they've got to get over the climb. They've got to get into that section where Jones is now, where Hadlock is approaching. It is a flat run in, but it is not totally flat, is it, Emma?
Well, it's not totally flat. And let's just take a little look at where our riders are. So our Category 3 and Category 4 are now off of that final climb. They're on the descent and they're on the run into the finish. And there is a look at that. There's a little climb on that run into the finish. Category 2 and Category 1 have gone into the Eikeberg climb. And Category 1, with 9 riders going in, I'm expecting fireworks, Matt, on that final climb, because nobody in that Category 1 leading group is going to be wanting a 9-up sprint to the finish. Now, it could be more than a 9-up sprint to the finish, because our riders could indeed sweep up earlier starting categories on that run in. So I think we are going to see an explosive finish across all of our categories today. And can those lone riders in Category 4 and Category 3 stay out for that final, given the profile?
Yep, that profile, as you can see, very testing, a real sawtooth profile to the course here today. The first time we're here in Belgium for our finals. At the moment, we have got 3 of our categories already over the top and into the descent, if not onto the flatter section, running for the finish. Only Category 1 to get to the top. The current fastest time up to the top of the climb of the Eikeberg, or if you were to pronounce it correctly, as
Eikeberg.
It is Eikeberg, but we are doing an English commentary and we are going to try and make sure that you can understand which bits we're referring to, because it doesn't always correspond to how it sounds in its local language.
Well, it doesn't. And also what we need to bear in mind, Matt, is that for a vast majority of our viewers, English could be their second or even third language.
Great respect to anybody who is able to keep up with us in a second language,
or third
or fourth or fifth on the way through. But thank you very much for watching wherever you are. Please tell a friend to jump on board. You get to watch amazing athletes like Catherine
take a look
Furr
at this.
in action.
Catherine Furr, I said there was going to be fireworks, and fireworks there is, because Furr has lit the touch paper. Bruni, the only rider able to go with her own teammate. So it's the Sweet Sensations, Furr and Bruni doing the double. They've pushed on. Sidlick now 8 seconds back. She is doing the chasing with Bjarhead. So Sidlick and Bjarhead, the peak performers squad, doing the chasing here. Kolczynski now 12 seconds back.
Big gaps opening up. It's splitting. Is this going to be decisive? Well, we're going to have to find out. Will we see a sprint in for positions? Well, our riders will be giving it everything to the line, but they have to be very aware of where that line is and how much effort they put in. 12 seconds was the gap for Bruni, sweetly making it up here. The sensation of being on the front will be immense, but will it be enough to drive them forward? Sidlick is chasing here at the moment, and Sidlick is from the peak performers squad. She will want to minimize any time gap they get. It's going to be tricky to do. The leading riders on the road are our Category 4 riders at the moment. They're leading this out. They are just in front of the chasers behind. I think our Category 3 leader, though, Angel Hadlock, is in amongst them. She's currently in 9th position overall, and I think she's in Group 2 on the road. It's about a minute down on the leaders.
Well, I'm not quite. I think she might be in Group 3 on the road, but you can take a look at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. She's actually in Group 4.
Wow.
So the bottom left-hand corner of your screen now for this final run into the finish is going to be absolutely crucial to keep your eye on, because we are going to see riders picking up groups along the way. And you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, Georgina Jones is the rider leading this Category 4 race, but she's got company from Bryson and Perry. Silvestro and Hamilton are all within 3 seconds now. So I think that group of 5 are going to come back together again, and we may well see a sprint finish unless Jones can do something about it on the small climb on the run in. On the left-hand side of your screen, it is Hadlock. She's working her way through the back markers now. Alvarez and Bremner and Madeira are the chase group in Category 4. Hadlock is part and parcel of the group behind at the moment, and she is pulling that group up. So Hadlock now leading that Category 3 race. She's worked her way up into the top 10 on the road overall. As we watch the group come together, we said Jones, she pushed on that final climb, but she's been brought back in by the chase group. So Perry, Bryson, Silvestro and Hamilton all coming back together. And I bet that garage with Hamilton and Bryson in at the moment is all smiles.
Well, let's have a look at how they go on the way in. It's going to be interesting who is in the garage. Are they going to be smiling? It's going to be a tasty finish here today. Perry being taken in. We've got just in there. You can see
got an audience.
The audience. In fact, the Swannies are there. They're going to be looking after their riders. You've got to keep the riders in tip-top condition. They are there for every single need that Bryson and Hamilton have in that garage. However, this is where it counts, and they're going to need to concentrate. We are at 500 meters to go. We have 4 riders. Is that 5 riders in contention? Emma, this is going to be close. It's not far to go.
There's not far to go. There's less than 400 metres to go. We've got 5 riders in the mix here in this Category 4 race as they're coming up to the final climb. Now they need to be very careful not to put the power down too early because we have had riders caught out with their timing on this finish as Jones starts to take attention at the front. She's in that polka dot skin suit. Perry comes up and over the top. Those two want to lead this out. Hamilton, Bryson, Silvestro are behind with 100 metres to go. It's Jones taking the lead here. So Jones pushes on. Jones takes the win from Perry, from Hamilton. Silvestro is there as well. What a finish.
That was so quick, wasn't it, Emma? It came in and round that turn so fast. Jones taking the victory, and it can catch our riders out. That is a very close finish here as you come in with the gaps down to it's 400ths of a second, I think it is, between Jones and Perry on the line. Now, coming into the running, this is Category 3 leader Hadlock. She shouldn't have any issues, though, because she's well clear at the moment on the running. I see no one within touching distance. Surely 28 seconds is too much, but behind the fight for second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. is going to be a ferocious one, and I think there's more riders than there are prizes in that chasing group.
Yeah, so Hadlock clear in Category 3 at the moment. She's a rider in the polka dot skin suit with the number 3 on the back. The green skin suit and the 2 red jerseys are all 3 Category 4 riders that she is with at the moment. She's got 200 metres to go. Angel Hadlock is coming into the finish. There is the UCI banner. Angel Hadlock is going to take the win in Category 3 today on the April final. The chase is on behind for the other finishing positions in Category 3, but Hadlock, she takes the win. So Hadlock takes the win in Category 3. This is Category 2, and they are sweeping up the riders on the road at the moment. We've got McAlpine, we've got Kong, we've got Weston and Embring. Svardström is there as well. These riders all in the mix for this Category 2 race. Well, they're coming up for 500 metres to go. So in the Category 3 race, it's Barragan from De Silva, from Estelle, from Johnson, rounding out the top 5. As we take a look now at what will be our finish in the Category 2 race, and it's Svardström kicking early. She's gone with 400 metres to go, so Anna Svardström kicks at 9 watts per kilo. Embring, the rider who's on her wheel. Weston has not responded yet, but Kong comes over the top. So Svardström taking this out early. She wants to sweep round the corner and see the banner first. She's going to. Can she take this from Embring? It's Svardström and Embring. Anna Svardström's going to take the win in Category 2. Lam Kong coming over the top for second place. Anna Embring is going to have to settle for third. Molly Weston for fourth. And McAlpine, I think, is going to take fifth.
So remember, prizes for the top 5 riders in each of our race categories was Fast from Kong, Embring, Western and McAlpine. The 5 riders in there. All the results at the moment are live. They become unofficial when the race ends, and then they will all become official once they're verified. That verification performance and process, put my teeth back in, that starts way before we start the actual race itself, when our riders are registering and doing their power passport. And the gold standard of verification here on MyWhoosh, really making sure we have fair and equal racing with every single competitor checked in our race fields, in our men's and women's races, to make sure that they are in there. When it's verified, then those prizes will be going out to those riders. Who's going to be taking away the team prize? Who's going to be taking away the win in category 1? You can see the big mix here at the minute. Bruni at the moment up at the front with a teammate Fua getting a head start and a time advantage in that team competition.
Well, she is indeed, and it is Bruni and Fua, the 2 riders coming up at the moment. They're at 33.7 kilometres into this 35-kilometre race, and I would say they've got just over 35 seconds on the chase group. Now, the chase group contains Larson, Penner, Holdcroft, Bjarhead, Velt and Sidlick. It's a huge group of riders. Kolchinsky is the rider who's been dropped from the original group. She's a further 33 seconds back down the road. So what was 9 became 8, became 2 with a chase group of 6. And it's the 2 riders, Bruni and Fua. They are indeed teammates on the Sweet Sensations team. They are the 2 riders out front at the moment. Catherine Fua, resplendent in the polka dot skin suit. Bruni in that yellow jersey. The chase group behind now pushing on. They are 400 metres back.
And at the moment, Bruni and Fua, if they've got 30 seconds at the line, add that together, that's a minute head start for the team as they come in. Can they make this count? This is the run for the line. We are nearly 500 metres to go.
Well, Fua and Bruni line up for the finish. Catherine Fua comes to the front. They have 450 metres to go. They're going to swing around the corner to see the finish line, and Fua kicks at the moment. She's gone at 6 watts per kilo, but Bruni, her teammate, has responded. She's gone up and over the top now. Has she gone up and over the top to lead this out? Fua's gone at 10. Where is Bruni? What can Bruni do about this? She too is kicking. She's at 10.5 watts per kilo, but Fua's at 12. Fua's going underneath the UCI banner to take the win in category 1. Merle Bruni, her teammate, comes through in category 2. And the chase is on behind, because this chase group, well, they've got 350 metres to go. It's Velt, Sidlick, Bjarhead, Penner, Holdcroft and Larson. Who is going to take 3rd place? It is anybody's game at the moment. Well, coming round the final corner, they're going to see that UCI banner shortly, and the kick is going. Holdcroft's gone. Bjarhead's in front, but Holdcroft goes over the top. Maria Holdcroft wants this the most. It's going to be Holdcroft from Bjarhead, from Sidlick. That's going to round out the top 5.
So your top 5 riders in category 1. The first 2 in and over the line, Fua and Bruni, some 37 seconds ahead of Maria Holdcroft, Marlene Bjarhead, Stephanie Sidlick and Tiffany Penner. The Sweet Sensations putting riders in 1 and 2. Because they've got Velt in 7th place, I think that is going to secure them the team win. Don't forget, of course, all of the results up on the MyWhoosh.com webpage. It's MyWhoosh.com/results. You can also get there. Top left-hand side of the home page gets you that menu that will drop you into the race results. Please do catch up on there. Even better, tell a friend to subscribe and watch and jump on board. Download MyWhoosh Go, download for Apple TV, for iOS, for Android. Come on board and come and join us out on the bike on MyWhoosh. It'd be a pleasure to see you there. You can catch up with me. It's at Matt Fixer Paint on social media. Emma, where can people get hold of you?
You can find me at biking_Emma on Instagram. Please do get in touch. It'd be great to hear from you.
Well, we've got the men's race coming up. After that, I'm actually going to be heading across to Tulsa in the States for the UCI BMX World Cup. Some great action coming from the round 5 yesterday. Round 6 is today. But here on the UCI partner for esports for 2024, 25 and 26, the Sunday Race Club finals for April for our women has been an absolute barnstormer.
That's one word.
It's a big word and it sums it up very, very well. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Emma, for being in the commentary box with me. We look forward to many more races to come. Join us for the men's race, but from me, Matt Payne, from Emma Martin, we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.